What's up? Don't know if I got anybody out there just yet. I'm gonna wait a couple of minutes before I start my review of the movie Karen. Uh, this movie was requested. It was requested of me by a viewer. They heard that it was getting bad reviews, and they just wanted to know if these reviews were warranted for this movie. Let's see. So, like I say, I'll give it another minute, and then I'm going to jump right in it. And also, I guess, just at the top of this live stream, I need to let you guys know that there is something going on with my streaming software that I use, and I I don't know what's going on. I can't edit any of my videos. So, my usual video for Star Trek Lower Decks usually goes out on Friday. If I don't have this situation rectified by a little later on tonight, I am going to have to include my Star Trek Lower Decks review with the weekly wrap up on Saturday. So Saturday at 3 p.m. Central Time, I do the weekly wrap up where I talk about what's went on in the entertainment industry for that week, and then I talk about a couple TV shows. Usually those TV shows are Marvel's What If and DC's Titans. I may have to add Star Trek Lower Decks to that little rotation back there until I figure out what's going on. So if you are interested in the Star Trek's Lower Decks thing, that is going to be where you'll find it. Unless you see a video up tomorrow, then that means I solved my problem. Yay. Okay, so like I said, welcome to After the Snap, and I'm your host, Tasha Pierce. Let's get that part out of the way first. And like I said, Karen, the movie, it was a request that I do a review for this movie. And I promised that I would do a very special live stream to talk about this movie after I had an opportunity to see it. Now, Karen came out, it was released on September 3rd. The the premise of this movie is Karen Drexler is a racist white woman who makes it her personal mission to displace the new black family that has just moved in next door to her. So the black family is community activist Malik, and that's played by Cory Hardrict, and his wife Imani, played by Jasmine Burke. They are the couple who've just moved to this Atlanta suburb, but they won't be backing down without a fight. Now, that's the premise. By the way, Taryn Manning plays Karen. This was written, let me see. It was written and directed by Gotta Be on Coke Williams. Coke Daniels, I'm sorry. Gotta Be on Coke. His name is Coke Daniels, and he truly had to be on Coke to think this nightmare up. This was a nightmare. So, and if you could tell by my thumbnail, I got Karen standing in front of a dumpster fire because that's exactly what this movie is. A complete and total train wreck of a movie. This is the first one that I've actually, this year, the first movie that actually fit dumpster fire territory to me. I've seen some bad movies. This is the absolute worst. And it starts off, and again, I'm not going to drop any spoilers in case for some reason you decide you want to watch this movie after my glowing endorsement. So what Karen, how it starts is we see the words Black Lives Matter written on in chalk on the pavement, and then we see a bucket of water come and just wash it all away. And this is where we first see Karen. So Taryn Manning, playing Karen, comes out and scrubs the Black Lives Matter slogan off of the concrete. Now, when we watch Karen do this, the first thing that stood out to me about her was this horrible wig that she's wearing. It is actually the worst lace front. You know how people complain about Tyler Perry's characters and how their wigs are never quite right. Well, Karen's wig tops that wig, simply because, number one, it is the blackest of black on her pale pasty face. So and I know that this is intentional. And then of course she's got the classic Karen hairdo with the asymmetrical type of bob going on. That already let me know, okay, this is low budget. This right here to have no budget to work with. They are working with the bare minimum. But there have been some low budget movies that turned out to be good movies as far as the depth and the commentary that they're giving you. This ain't one of them. This is not one of those movies. Okay, we later meet Imani and her husband Malik. They're moving into this Atlanta suburb, as we talked about at the top. And that's when you start to realize that this movie ain't it, because the dialogue is terrible. Okay, so when we meet Imani and Cory, they're moving into this house. It's a beautiful home. The first thing that we see them doing when they move into this house, they have a Swahili warrior mask that they are putting on the wall, and underneath it there are two swords. And just from the amount of time that they linger on these swords, you know that these swords are going to come into play at some point in this movie. But that might be a spoiler. I don't know. I don't even care. I don't even care. Okay, so now we've got this frame up. We've got this racist white woman. We've got this beautiful couple just moved next door. So to introduce us to this couple, to give us an idea of who Imani and Malik are, they give us a little chance where they're about to have a little sexy time. They're going to have a little sexy time later on because they're a couple, they're married. And the dialogue between them sounds like somebody who has never had this type of conversation wrote it. So here's an example. And I don't know how often you've listened to my streams, especially the weekly wrap up, where I've got an imaginary husband named Ben. So let's say me and Ben are having a sexy time conversation. At no point in the sexy time conversation does my credit score, my employment credentials, none of that comes up, because in normal households, that's not how people talk. When it's sexy time, you might get, for instance, in this movie, Malik tells Imani, "You're beautiful, you're intelligent, you're sexy, you're college educated, you're socially aware." And I'm thinking, where does that come in when this is a couple with a history together? She knows she's college educated. She knows that she's socially aware. Why are you telling her that? Why? Because he wasn't telling it to her. He was telling it to us. And her commentary to him was pretty similar. It was, you woke. You know, these are just not things that we say to our loved one while we are about to have sexy time. So that was the one of the first things that let me know that this movie right here was more than low budget. That I realized at this point in this movie that it was about to be trash. I just didn't know how trash it would be. Okay, so we get to see Karen in action in this movie. And the first time, besides her scrubbing the Black Lives Matter off of the pavement, we see her at a restaurant with her girlfriend, and she's telling her about these black folks that moved in next door, and her girlfriend might as well to have clutched her pearls. That is just how shocked that she was in 2021 that a black person moved to a suburb in Atlanta. Oh gosh. I couldn't believe it. But okay, so they're at the restaurant and they're chatting about this. And who walks up but Karen's brother? And guess what? Karen's brother is a cop. So you already know where this is going, right? I don't even have to explain. You know where this is going. So Karen's brother is a cop, and she explains to her cop brother that black folks have moved in next door. And he says, well, if you or the kids need me, call me. So we've seen these swords, and we know that these swords are going to come into play. And we've seen this brother who says, if you need me, call me. So we know that the brother at some point is going to come into play. Then we move on. Same restaurant. Karen is, she proves that she is truly a Karen by telling a couple of black guys that were sitting at a table adjacent to them that they were laughing too loud. They're just having too much fun. Just stop. You just can't have fun in the restaurant, especially amongst white folks. And when they did not stop, of course, she got the manager, because that's what Karens do. She got the manager, and the manager escorted these gentlemen out of the restaurant because one person complained that they were having too much fun and laughing too loud. So now we've got this set up for the rest of the movie, and I promise I'm not going to spoil what is going to happen, but if you don't know, I've been talking for about 10 minutes now. If you don't know what's going to happen, then you've never seen a movie in your life. Because the first 10 minutes of this movie spelled out the rest of it for us. It just didn't spell out how bad it would be. This was the worst script, the worst dialogue, the worst editing, the worst acting. And I mean, I believe that all of our key characters are good actors and actresses. So I am not saying that they can't act. I'm saying that what they were given was complete and total rubbish. Everything was bad about this. The editing was so bad that if I make a comment to a person in a scene in this movie, it literally takes 5 to 6 seconds before that person starts to talk back to me. That shows me that this is done in several takes, and it was edited extremely poorly. I'm not a great editor of YouTube videos, but I'm also not trying to have a movie that I create put on the big screen for people's enjoyment. And enjoyment was not had, not by me. I enjoyed nothing about this movie. The tropes, and I mean, she hit every single Karen trope in this movie, and these people hadn't even been living next door to her for maybe a week or two. I also noticed that there were times when there is a way that a normal person would behave, and Coke Daniels did not take that up. he did not follow up on things that would happen realistically. For instance, and this is without trying to spoil the movie, for instance, Imani is at home alone, and the alarm on her car starts to go off. So she runs outside to stop the alarm and finds Karen sitting on top of her car, like sitting literally on top of her car. And she like, Karen, you come down from my car. Now that to me is unrealistic, because if I come outside and Karen is sitting on my car, a rather new car, that means I'm still making payments on this car. If I see Karen ass sitting on top of my car, I'm gonna have to snatch Karen off of my car, or at the absolute least, call the police. Now, at this point, Imani doesn't know that Karen's brother is a police in this area. So, I would think common sense would say that I need to call the police because this crazy woman is sitting on top of my car, or I need to whoop Karen's ass. That's how things go in the real world. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And Karen was playing a lot of stupid games in this movie, and she didn't win the prize that she should have won. She actually showed up for a housewarming. And of course, it appears that she's the only white person there, and she decides to start to wage a war of words with this group at this party. And again, this most unrealistic sequence of events, because she would have been eaten alive, especially in a room full of educated black folks. That's what we do for fun. We just sit around and eat each other alive, debating. But you know, it's all in fun. It's not like an aggressive thing. It's all in fun. So then you have a person now in your setting, in your element, who is she's coming with some smoke. So that means she wants the smoke. So in this situation, they didn't give it to her. I was very troubled by that as well, because I'm like, you know, nothing was realistic about this. So the ending was predictable. Everything up until the ending. If you've watched the news over the last 2 years, every rotten thing that can happen to a black person that is unwarranted, that is just because somebody has a feeling, it is not something that somebody has actually done. Every news story that you have ever seen over these last couple of years especially shows up in this movie in less than what appeared to be less than 2 weeks of living next to Karen ass. There's also, I got a problem with, and it's just like black, or it's just male behavior to me. In this movie, the family, Imani and Malik, are getting ready to go to bed, and they hear a noise outside in their backyard. So he grabs his gun, and she's like, I told you to get rid of that. So now we know that she doesn't want him to have a gun. But we also know that if you pull a gun in the first act, it's going to be used before this thing is over. Am I right? I'm right. Okay. So he pulls the gun. He's like, I'm about to go check to see what's going on out here. Put your robe on and let's go. There's not a man. And if you've got the gun, what do you need me for? I need to be in the house with my finger hovering over the one, because I've already pushed the first 9 and the second one and the 1. So now all I have to do is hit the third one, just in case something happens to you. You don't need me outside in the fray. You got the gun. So that was just ignorant. So now they're just walking around outside. He got a gun, and they both walking with flashlights, looking around outside. It was really just a foolish way to set something up. and I won't tell you what the setup was. Um, so yeah, I didn't like this movie, not at all. I think that what people were saying, uh, as far as it being a horrible movie, if you've heard that this movie was not good, those whoever told you that was telling you the truth. And in case you don't want to take my word for it, I think we'll take a look at what Rotten Tomatoes has to say. As soon as I get to Rotten Tomatoes, I thought I was there. Okay, we'll take a look at what Rotten Tomatoes has to say about this movie. As you can see, there's Karen with her horrible wig. And of course, she's on the phone because she's calling the police on somebody. And then we look down at the ratings. And these ratings are 18% critic rating, a 19% audience score, and it's about right. That's about right. There is this was bad. And then again, here we have our family members. That's Imani and Malik, her husband. And of course, this is here. This picture here is of Karen's racist brother whispering sweet nothings in the ear of a young black man that he is harassing. And of course, we've got Karen here talking to her brother, telling on somebody, I'm sure. But again, just take note of the wig. Oh, I made it too big. Take note of the wig. This is terrible. Look at this. Look at this shit. So anywho, and then you have Imani and Malik, and they've been being visited by Karen's brother. And then this is the young man that was in the restaurant where Karen decided that they were having too much fun. Turns out that he's friends with Malik because Atlanta is small. And I think some of these pictures will start to get into spoilers, so I'm going to shut those down because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who has any intention of actually watching this garbage. It is not a good movie. It is not worth your time. Even if, and I mean, even if it was shot well, any of that might possibly be, that would make it somewhat better, but it would not, it couldn't replace the fact that the script of this movie and all of that was horrible. It's just terrible. So I'm trying to remember who requested the review. I believe the review was requested, and I won't say who. You know who you are, and if you want to say who you are, you can put it in the comments that you were the person who requested this. But whoever told you that it was not a good movie, they were telling you the truth. This movie was terrible. It was terrible. And I honestly believe that it was, there were times that this movie was slated to come out in theaters. They wanted this movie to play on the big screen. And let me tell you, that would have been a travesty beyond words, because the movie does not have anything to add that has not already been said. There's nothing that makes any type of commentary. These are just, it's what some folks will call black trauma porn. These are just things that just happen to black people, and we are just sitting and watching it happen and happen and happen. But there is no commentary on this. There's no lesson learned in all of this. It's just You see, you remember how black people can't go into restaurants and laugh too loud? Well, how about black people getting arrested for nothing? And how about black people, they're you know, they're tropes. Not saying that these things don't happen. I am 100% sure that somewhere in America, these things are happening every single day. We know this. But what doesn't happen is we get to see one person wreaking this much havoc without any repercussions. Like, she's entitled, but that doesn't mean she's invincible. So the fact that this lady goes on this little war against this couple that the only thing she really knows about them is that they're black, there should have been repercussions. Even if the repercussions were handed down by the people that she was harassing. There's a point in the movie where Karen, when she notices that she has black neighbors now, she puts a camera up and aims it straight at their house. Now, and they come and they talk to her about, hey, can you mind turning that? It's looking right into our bedroom. Karen knew what she was doing. So what you should do after you've asked and the camera hasn't been turned is go turn that fucker yourself. See, those are the type of repercussions that happen when somebody continuously pushes your button. Yes, you may end up being seen as being in the wrong, but Karen will stop messing with you. But it would have never gotten to Karen sitting on top of your car. It would have never gotten to that point if you would have checked Karen in the first act. So that's just one of a myriad of things that made this movie completely unbelievable to me. I didn't think anything about it was realistic, except for the porn, the trauma porn that they exhibited for all to see. There's no way that this happens in Atlanta, of all places. Chocolate City. There is no way that this happens in Atlanta. It's just not going to. There's too much money and there are too many people who you don't know who is who. There are a lot of celebrities that live and do business out of Atlanta. So a restaurant, and I do know that it's happened. I've seen what happened with former NBA player Dominique Wilkins lately. But as a rule, at a restaurant, a movie theater, any type of business, you don't know who this black person is in front of you because this city is primarily black. So you could be putting out the person that could bring the most heat to your restaurant, your establishment. That's the type of shit you don't want to have in Atlanta. So the fact that they even based it in Atlanta was just absolutely ludicrous to me. I don't know. I'm not seeing that anybody has seen this movie. I really wish somebody besides me had, but at the same time, I'm glad that you did not waste your $5 because it cost me $5 to watch this movie on or rent it on Amazon Prime. But again, the movie was just as bad as people said it was. It did not have any substance. There was nothing about it that is redeemable, especially that wig. Especially that wig. I am so troubled by this lady's hair right now. It looks terrible. But anyhow, that's all I got for Karen. I did make a promise that I was going to take a look at it and give my thoughts, and those are my thoughts. And I would... Oh, it was you! Yeah! It was you, and I didn't want to put you out. But yes, I did the review, Angus. And the verdict, it is not good. Whatever you heard about this movie was 100% true. So yeah. So unless there's questions, comments, concerns, I'm going to wrap it up. I've talked long enough about this movie. Oh, I don't think I said how long it was. The movie is an hour and 29 minutes long. And like I said, it came out September 3rd. And yeah, I feel sorry for everybody who was involved in this movie. I know hopefully everybody got a check behind it, but this, yeah, this was like, it was like a high school project. It really wasn't that good. So that's it. And again, I'm going to repeat what I said at the top of this video or this live stream. I am having problems with my my streaming software. Not my streaming software, my recording software. So I'm not able to edit my videos. So if you're looking for the Star Trek Lower Decks video, if I don't get this situation fixed, I'm gonna have to have Star Trek Lower Decks included in my weekly wrap up on Saturday at 3 p.m. Central Time. So if you watch the weekly wrap up on Saturdays, then you will be able to catch my Lower Decks review. And spoiler alert, I didn't think this one was that bad, but I'm not going to go into it today. Catch up with me on Saturday, 3 p.m. Central Time, if you want to hear the Lower Decks review, or keep your eyes open, because if I get my situation fixed, I will just put up the video as usual. With all that being said, I have nothing else. It has been so much fun. Thank you for giving me something to review, Angus Osano. And anybody can make a request, and I will do my best to accommodate it. Anywho, I will catch up with all of you all later. Thank you for watching. Peace.